eyes so I can see you like you do. With my heart, girl, I'm gon' love you like you do. With my strength, God, I protect her. For righteous man to lead her till we both stand in agreement. Yeah, many times as a husband, I've been so unsuccessful. My attitudes and my actions, they've been so disrespectful. The truth is, trying to flip the boat, cause I was trying to see, man, if our love could flow. Hey, you can't swim in sin, man. Almost drowned us both. I ain't been the same. I've been hiding pain since my brother died. Still, it's no excuse to try to handle things in my stubborn pride. It's been 5 years of my wedding ring of my lovely bride. I finally cleaned the closet, man, and organized on my clothing side. With my morning breath, my stinking feet, and my dirty socks. You still give me hugs, you still show me love, whether it's dirt or not. With your
Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 8, Let Go and Pick Your Battles.
Yep, let go and you pick your battles.
That's super important. Too many people, even us, especially us, are very petty, and sometimes
Super petty.
sometimes we fight over the tiniest, minute, insignificant things. And I feel like that's probably most people's fights, most of your fights. More of your fights are less meaningful and more prideful than anything. And sometimes you just have to let it go and you have to literally pick your battles.
Yeah, usually as a man, I know that I usually blow up or lose my cool a little bit over the small things, over the most pettiest of things. It's usually not nothing real big. But there's been a lot of times I should have just, picked my battles, took the L. But my inner pettiness, martial artist, whatever you want to call it, stupid artist, just wouldn't let things go. And so it kind of just, takes a toll at times. But
Yeah, it happens. Some of the few, key points that I had here is kind of to help you choose when to pick your battles, to help you actually pick your battles, to help you let go of the smaller things. Is it worth fighting, or should you let it go? Is it serious, or is it petty? In other words, does it really matter? Is it an actual problem, or is it just your pride? And will it do more harm than good? Not all battles need to be fought right now. In other words, sometimes it's not, no, you don't need to fight this battle, meaning, we don't need to talk about it or argue about it or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes to avoid it being an argument, it's not, no, it's not right now. And that's also a form of picking your battle. You need to choose sometimes to let things settle and to think and let everyone's minds calm down and then come back and revisit later when you can say it in a respectful manner.
Guarding your words and your anger and, just your haughtiness is like actually a form of love. You got to just kind of slow it down sometimes. And sometimes it's best to let it go. Sometimes it's best to even sometimes wait a day and see if you'll feel the same way about that thing you felt about the next day. Sometimes better wait a whole day or either wait till a later time to bring it up at a more respectable time like she was talking about.
Absolutely. And you have to truly think it through. The reason and the worth, is it right or wrong? What are the pros and cons? Is this actually going to bring any worth to my marriage and my relationship in any fashion? Is it, or am I just going to cause harm if I bring this up? Am I actually going to cause more problems? And another thing is, what's your role in the issue? Was it something that maybe you could have done better to prevent it? Is it something that, well, maybe what they did that you're upset about was in response to something that you did? Because sometimes that's the case too. You may have done something that you don't see as a big deal, but they might see it as a big deal. And so it created a snowball effect. And so now something that you did, your role in it was you said something, you tried to brush it off and got mad about what they said. What was your role in the problem? And then when you're thinking about those things, you need to think about logic over emotion. Think logically and reasonably. Think about the facts of the situation and think about what's right, not who's right. And don't throw your emotions into it. Think about it in a very logical manner.
Yeah.
very matter of fact.
Yes, to add and piggyback, not pick me back, but piggyback off what she was saying, like you have to ask yourself also, like what type of fruit will it bear?
Mhm.
Like what fruit will it bear? At the end of the day, if you were to finally get your point across, would there be anything more on that fruit than you being right or you being heard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said before.
Would there be anything more to that fruit than you being right or you being heard? Is it worth the wait or is it worth the stress of your marriage? And better yet, sometimes it's better to know the cues of your partner. Sometimes I know that at the time, in the heat of the moment, I'm just a badger. It's not going to work.
I'm not going to hear anything you're saying.
She's not going to hear anything I say.
And vice versa.
And one thing that she does well with is, like I talked about this a few episodes back, it's a pointed conversation. If I feel if it's a big enough deal that it needs to be talked about later, then you talk about it later. You wait. Don't try to force it, because right then, what anger is like a closed door. It's like who speaks to a door after a door has been slammed in your face? Who does that? And you shouldn't. It's pointless. Nobody's listening to you. You feel more respected. You feel better when the door is open and people being receptive to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I got a couple scriptures. I got Psalms 37:8. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret, complain. It leads only to evil. Do not fret or complain. So basically, refrain from anger and you turn from wrath. It's basically like that, because that's usually the motivation between trying to force your point across or either trying to not let go.
Mm-hmm.
Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as Christ has forgiven you.
Mm-hmm. I think I've done that one before.
Yeah, we have. We did it in an episode before. But it definitely applies today.
Yeah, it does.
We should be quick, to forgive and to be compassionate to one another. A part of compassion is also sometimes it's not forcing your part. It's actually being compassionate, not trying to force how right you are in the moment. You gotta let go. Psalms 55:22. Cast your burdens on the Lord, and He shall sustain you. When you're still feeling some type of way, if you feel unheard, or if you feel like this is just unjust in the moment, or you feel like you should be heard to be right, talk to God about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to God about it. That's the best and first option. That's actually what you should have started with before you got angry. And before you tried to push it.
It's true.
Hebrews 12, verses 14 and 15. Pursue peace with all people and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. Looking carefully, lest anyone fall short of the grace of God. Lest any root of bitterness spring up, cause trouble, and by many become defiled. Basically, how it works is you got to pursue peace for others. If you're pursuing peace for other people, how much more so does it mean for your wife, and for the wife for the husband for the wife?
Mm-hmm.
And it says, do not even act in bitterness, basically. Do not let bitterness take root. You should be leaning on the Lord, talking to God. It helps. And, just don't bring it back up. Bitterness only happens when you're not putting your mind elsewhere. You got to learn to forgive 7 times, 70 times.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do this, it starts a cycle. Mm-hmm. So it says at the end, by this many will become defiled by the bitterness. So if you let it fester, you're not casting it upon the Lord. You're not leaning on God.
Mm-hmm.
You're not being compassionate. You just don't want to let it go. Then you're choosing defilement.
And you're not truly forgiven.
Yeah. And it's going to be, you're not truly forgiven. It's going to be commotion. It's going to be strain. It's going to be frustration in the marriage. So you have to deal effectively with your anger. I don't care what it is. You may have to be you may be a person that works out. Go do that. You may be a person that likes to take a run or walk. Go do that.
Mm-hmm.
You may be a person that loves to play instruments. Me. Go do that. Play your piano, play your guitar, play your drums, whatever. Do something.
Or maybe you're a gamer.
Or you're a gamer. Go do that.
Go play your games.
Talk to a best friend, but don't talk about your man when you're talking to your best friend, and vice versa. Don't talk about your woman when you talk to your best friend. It's a 3-part relationship between you, her, and God. That's it.
Exactly.
It's a triangle. And last one is Proverbs 15:1 and 2. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise uses knowledge righteously, but the mouth of fools pours forth foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh one stirs up anger. Be careful how you use your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful what you say. That is the biggest Biggest thing. And if you ain't got nothing nice to say, it goes like back what your Mima and Memo taught you. Peepaw, Pawpaw, whoever you called you, Mammy, or whatever you call it. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, shut it up.
Mm-hmm.
Just learn how to go take 2 seats, go depart yourself, go sit it down, take a cool, chill pill, and learn to love each other effectively, you know. But you can always bring it back and talk about it, right? Point of conversation, all these other good things.
That applies to a whole lot more than just marriage.
Yeah, it applies to so much more than just marriage. You're so right. But the
But yeah,
subject matter.
the subject matter is marriage.
Yeah.
But it just made me think. So many people, that's why I don't even get on social medias, because so many people don't know how to hold their tongue and be kind.
And like most things, before we even go out to the world, it begins at home. You having trouble, struggling, doing certain things at home, you're gonna buckle under pressure one of these days in public.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna show. You know your roots will always show. So what you practice at home is very much so become your practices out there. It'll pile on until a point you'll crack or you'll slip up.
For you guys, that's like football. If you practice bad, you're gonna play the game bad too.
Mm-hmm. And your home's supposed to be your place of refuge and recharging, and also. But I get it. But at the same time, you have to have healthy practices. You have to be actively trying to love and do better in your relationship, just like anywhere else or anything else that you have goals for.
And ladies, that goes with respect too. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You have to actively make yourself be respectful to your husband, and just as much as he has to actively make himself love you during the times that neither of you feel like it, you have to do it anyway. Right. There's no real choice there, because if you choose not to, you're bringing more turmoil to your marriage. And at the end of the day, neither one of you want turmoil in your marriage. You want good things from your marriage. And the only way to have good things in your marriage is to do the good acts to make the good things happen.
Exactly. Do the good acts to make the good things happen. Remember to let go and pick your battles. We love y'all. Hope y'all have a good evening.
All right. Stay blessed.